Yo guys, Superior David here. The devs recently nerfed Tortolan Pilgrim and Garden Animals, which was totally necessary for the health of the game, but I think there are more cards that should have been nerfed this time around, so I just wanted to make a quick YouTube video going over the 4 nerfs I still want to see in Scholomance Academy. And this first nerf is going to be a bit of a bonus one on me here, but I really want to see that YouTube algorithm nerfed, because it's too dang OP. But until they finally nerf the freaking thing, make sure to smash the like button, because not only does it really help me out with the YouTube algorithm, but it also makes it very superior. Now on to the actual nerfs. First up, we have Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is the card that frankly I was most surprised didn't receive any changes in the recent balance patch. Like, I know it's a classic Hearthstone card, but I think the game has evolved to a point where Sorcerer's Apprentice enables too many frustratingly broken interactions. It seems to have been this way in Wild for a while now, but has recently become quite apparent in Standard. Like, Small Spell Mage will pop off and cast a ton of cheap spells very early in the game, often paying little to no mana because of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and that allows the mage to cheat out a mana giant or go super wide with Shimvala a little too fast in my opinion. And I know Sorcerer's Apprentice isn't the only issue here, and I'll get more into that later, but I think she enables the stuff to happen really fast in ways you can't even begin to anticipate because of her like mana cheating effect. So I think it's time that she gets nerfed. Initially I was thinking that she shouldn't be able to reduce spells below 1 mana, because I think not paying mana for cards leads to a lot of the issues we see come up in Hearthstone time and time again, and it's not design space I'm particularly a huge fan of. But at the same time, I feel like that would totally kill Sorcerer's Apprentice, and like that shouldn't be the goal of a nerf. We don't want a War Song Commander Sorcerer's Apprentice here. Or maybe some of you guys do, but I don't think that's the best way to go about this. So instead, I think bumping up Sorcerer's Apprentice mana cost from 2 to 3 mana would be a lot more reasonable. It would keep the spirit of the card alive, and I think it would be more impactful than you would initially think. Like, if a mage wants to pop off with Sorcerer's Apprentice, now they'll have to wait an extra turn to do so, and that one turn makes all the difference against aggro decks, which Tempo Mage is like traditionally weak to. And if they want to pop off with 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices, now they'll have to wait until minimum turn 6, and then they also have less mana available for more expensive spells, which I think will help cut back on some of the feel bad moments. Some of the feel bad moments, not all of them. I know Blizzard has been teasing a rework of the classic and basic set for a while now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sorcerer's Apprentice is on the short list of cards to be changed, but I really hope they do something about her before this supposed change, because she leads to a lot of unsatisfying games. Now moving on to another mage card that I was frankly just very surprised wasn't nerfed, and I really want to see this card get nerfed. We've got Evocation. I view Evocation as one of the other really big problem cards in Mage at the moment. On its own, it's frustrating because it introduces a lot of randomness that you can't really play around, but I think when you can only cast it one time in the game, it's not that bad. It's manageable. But with the introduction of Wand Maker on top of the Cobalt Spellkin in these mage lists, it's not uncommon for mage to generate like 2 or 3 or even more of these evocations, and that's when things just start going off the rails and you can't meaningfully interact with what your opponent is doing because you can't anticipate things. There's just not much counterplay. Like when I first started playing Hearthstone, Mage would run Fireball or Frostbolt as burn to burst down opponents, but now like Mage decks just run multiple ways to generate evocations, and if they need burn, they just hope they generate off of evocation, and I don't think that's healthy for the game. So the change that I would like to see is to nerf evocation from 1 to 2 mana, which will limit the ways for Mage to generate additional copies of the spell. Like, yeah, they can still get evocation off of Wand Thief or Arcane Breath, but I think the spell pool is large enough where that won't be so consistent. Or at least I really hope it's not so consistent. And then with the increased mana cost, Mage won't be able to cast as many spells after playing Evocation, and I think like this combined with a Sorcerer's Apprentice nerf will cut down on some, but not all, of these like ridiculous RNG created by shenanigans from Mage. Then finally, moving forward, the devs really need to keep an eye on 1 mana spells if they're going to be printing cards that specifically generate 1 mana spells, which apparently it's just become a thing in the Year of the Phoenix. And this leads nicely into the next card that I've wanted to see nerfed since the beginning of Scholomance Academy, and it is not a mage card. Next up, we've got Wave of Apathy. I, to this day, do not understand why this card costs 1 mana. Like, if anyone in the comments could just explain to me the rationale behind this costing 1 mana, like, please enlighten me. I don't understand why it costs 1 mana when you have Humility with a similar yet worse effect also at 1 mana. Granted, you know, Humility doesn't really see play, but Wave of Apathy is infinitely better, and it's not even close. And what pushes Wave of Apathy really like over the top for me is the synergy with Cabal Acolyte. Another card that was nerfed, but like in a really weird way. Let's not get into that. It's just a really frustrating combo that functions like a 5-mana mind control if your opponent only has 1 minion on the board, and that's really good. Like, granted, that's a 2-card combo, but like I said with Evocation, it's easier to generate 1-mana spells due to Wandmaker and Cobalt Spellkin being around, so it's easier for priests to reliably get off this super frustrating combo. So similar problems call for similar solutions. So like with Evocation, I'd really like to see Wave of Apathy nerfed to 2 mana. This would make it harder for priests to generate those extra copies, and it would also slow down that, again, super frustrating Cabal Acolyte combo. And overall, I think a change like this just makes sense given that, again, Humility is a card with a similar yet worse effect, but costs the same as Wave of Apathy. I'll just never be able to wrap my head around it. I mean, I guess, or maybe we could just say screw it and like buff Humility to cost 0 mana and call it a day, and like I could stop complaining about it. But anyways, moving on to the final card that I want to see get nerfed. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a bit controversial because I think it's a fan favorite in the community at the moment, but we've got Animated Broomstick. There's a reason why they call this card Dr. Broom. It's really good, and if you ask me, it's a little too good. Rush is one of the most powerful minion keywords in Hearthstone because it allows you to generate tempo on the board without your opponent really being able to interact. And since the introduction of Rush in the Witchwood expansion, I think we've learned that you need to be really careful with Rush granting effects because they can get real oppressive real fast. I don't think Broom is necessarily there yet, but I worry because giving all of your minions Rush for 1 mana is just a little too efficient, and it's too easy to play with multiple minions in the same turn. And looking at other Rush granting effects, it definitely seems like Animated Broomstick is undercosted for its effect. Just take a look at Rocket Aug Merchant from the previous expansion. 1 mana gives 1 minion Rush, and it also pings it, which is bad most of the time. I know it's not like an exact one-to-one comparison, but I think it's pretty clear that Animated Broomstick probably shouldn't cost 1 mana. And, you know, like, I know that the goalpost for power levels has, like, changed over the years, but Broom unapologetically power creeps on a card released from, like, the previous expansion. It's just, like, really ridiculous when you say it out loud and put it that way. So I'd really like to just see it bump to 2 mana, which is basically the theme of this video. Make 1 mana cards cost 2 mana. This would maintain the card's ability, which I think is important, which I've been saying a lot this whole video, but it makes it less efficient, so you can't play it alongside multiple minions early in the game, and you have to like wait an extra turn to play it along like big minions. And there you have it. Those are the 4 nerfs that I still want to see in Scholomance Academy. Let me know down in the comments what you think about my proposed nerfs, and if you like agree, disagree, or think I missed something. Love having these discussions. And don't forget to like the video for the YouTube algorithm, really helps me out. And also subscribe for more superior Hearthstone content. Stay superior, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Later.